Game time. Game face on.
As I've already hit record. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of What the Wednesday. My name is Chris Qualizar. I'm going with it. I'm sticking with it on the Twitch side at least.
Oh, yeah?
Mike Guy staying on YouTube. That's what we're doing. So Chris Qualizar with my co-host, Dusty the Game Hopper. Tonight we are here to talk to you guys about special streams, special things that content creators can do to try to liven up their channels, to try to give themselves little boosts. And, do they actually work? Do they actually help? Do they actually generate additional promotion or long-term standing in your channel? So before we get into all that, let's start out. Dusty, how's your week been, my man? How you doing?
Man, it's been a great week. A lot of rain. One exciting thing for me was I finally did dabble my foot in the world of VR. And I'm not going to lie, it's hooked me pretty quick. I can imagine over the next couple of weeks, I'm probably going to spend more money than I want on VR games just to try stuff out. I got the Quest 2. People who want to know, very base, easy. But the fact that it's, mobile and you don't really need to connect it to anything if you don't want to has been nice. Main reason was to try to help get myself a bit more active with kind of being stuck, not doing much still with the pandemic going on. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it's been fun so far. It's been a cool journey to kind of finally dive into that side of things that I've waited so long to do. So that's been my big news, my excitement. What about you?
I know we have a special game lined up after the podcast tonight, but
oh yeah,
in the future, I'm very, very looking forward to when you're able to play Phasmophobia or other games via this VR system. I think that's going to be a huge turn or a huge boost to the what do they say, the engagement or the
dude, I am gonna be on the floor.
What do they call it?
Yeah.
When you're so into the game, the immersive experience. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. The immersive experience for the game itself. I really do. I think VR is something that is super adoptable to a lot of games that won't be penalized by fast motion. Because let's be honest, a lot of us that are gamers, we're not necessarily, we're not terribly uncoordinated, but we're not superstar athletes. We're not gymnasts. Yeah. We're not we're not fencing experts, right? So if you go throw in a couple of us in an actual real life experience sword fighting game, right? Yeah. We're much better with a keyboard and a controller than we are with actual, VR, immersive VR experiences. So when you find games that are like Phasmophobia, I think that's a really good style of game because it's slow paced for the most part.
Very true.
Right? And it is just immersive in itself, right? So it takes a while for you to be able to experience. It's not this run and dash and flipping and again you're making yourself sick while you're trying to play it. So
it's a good slow burn, there's a lot of games that just don't do that right, and Phasmophobia is one of the ones that does, and that's what makes it so much fun for me.
So I think, but I do think that, VR has a lot of potential in that market, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who, or at least I hope a lot of developers really stick with it. I hope it doesn't turn into, honestly, to me, it's already hung around longer than 3D did.
Yeah.
Right? 3D was like a 1 year
that?
It was like a 1 year fad, and it was gone. So it's already stuck around longer than 3D. It's already got a much bigger fan base. People have adopted it much more than 3D ever did. So I think it's here to stay. It's just how far do developers continue to push the limits on what immersion really is?
Very true. Yeah. I know AR is going to be right behind it. And I think at the end of the day, they're both going to have their place. I know some people say AR is going to, just take over and VR is going to be not remembered, but I think they both have their implications. They both have their places in the gaming world.
Yeah. Yep.
So we'll see. I'm excited for it. I ordered a 20-foot braided cable to be able to hook it up to the PC.
20-foot braided, okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, dude.
I was going to say,
what room I need. I want to hang it from the ceiling, so I'm not turning around,
tripping on it and everything. I was going to say, because that's my fear. You know me with dangly cables, right? I roll over this thing all the time in my desk, and I do all that kind of stuff, and I'm really nervous about the concept of it, of being wired to the machine, and you're doing something, you trip over the cable, and you throw yourself on the floor or something.
You're turning around too many times, you don't know what's around your feet, and then get scared by a ghost, and thing just tightens up on you, and next thing you're on the ground. At the same time, though, content. right?
Yeah. So I have to ask because I have the only real VR experience I have is from driving simulators. So it's always steering wheel, pedals, right, etc. Right? It's not games where you walk around. How do you move? Like it's tied into motion plus joysticks or
joysticks? Yeah, most of it's joysticks. There's a couple things I've seen where there's a shooter game that was for free that I was trying out that you actually have like rocket boosters attached to your wrists. So like when you're just like aiming in a direction, you pull the extra trigger on the controller and it just pushes you that way. So I've seen a lot of people doing unique ways with it. Some of it's point and click teleportation. You aim to a spot on the ground, click a certain button, all of a sudden you're over there in the room and things like that. So that can be a bit more disorienting to me than just walking around with a joystick.
Right.
But yeah. You're not moving your feet too much again, just to keep yourself grounded in your play zone.
Right. You're not running
into things, but yeah, you're not. But
I've definitely heard some of those experiences, people playing and they like literally run into things, or they'll they'll be standing somewhere and they'll like be doing something. The next thing you know, they smack something off a desk or a table or punch a wall or something like that.
That's gonna be my microphone worry. I'm gonna have to figure out how to not have it just be dangling in the air. But it's safe for the most part. But again, they do a really good job with that. At least like with the Quest, you pretty much like actually draw your safety zone on the floor.
Sure.
Because it lets you look through the cameras on the lens, so you're still like looking at your room even with your headset on. And then if you ever get close to it, literally like a gridded wall comes up to warn you, like, hey, you're about to run into something. So it's pretty neat. The safety features are definitely a lot better than I thought they were.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So stepping into I guess the first topic could be slightly correlated a little more on what my title was tonight, right? With
Leave those connections, man.
Yeah. So because I'm titled at "Are Streamers Helping the World?" Right?
Wow.
And
it's responsibility.
It's a huge concept, right? It's a huge concept, and it was brought up. It was brought up in Discord regarding like mental health state and people that are really having trouble with the pandemic and how they're adapting and how they're engaging and can or are streamers really helping people, or are they just kind of, I don't want to say leeches on society, but are they just entertainers, or are they actually benefiting people, right? Kind of concept, because we've always talked about being that two-way form of communication.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Is that better than just, is being a streamer any better than being a TV actor?
Any better or any worse or any different?
Sure. Yeah.
I don't think at all. No. I mean, if anything, actually, I would say as a streamer, we are better than your TV actors and your TV shows. Obviously, if you're just looking for an escape, you're looking to just watch something and get absorbed in that and live in that world for a little bit, the TV shows are going to do a better job. But the beauty that we have as streamers is our content is live, and you can also interact with this content. You can't do that with a TV show. You can't stop and ask questions and things like that and feel that connection a bit more, again, too, because maybe some of us here playing a character, but for the most part, we're all just, we are who we are. We're real people, regular people, just like everybody else watching us, and that makes us more relatable for sure.
It's an interesting concept, and I would say kind of to step into where you're going with that. I think I would say that I would feel that streaming in general has a bigger impact, both positive and negative, right? To some extent, streaming has a bigger impact on the world than TV media does, because at least like standard sitcoms or your dramas or things like that, because like we're mentioning, these two-way interactions. Could you imagine if like you got lost in the middle of a TV show and you could just like pause it and ask the actor, hey, hold on, I don't understand the background here. What's going on right now?
Yeah, right.
And they just like turn and look at you and be like, this is what we're doing right now. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, continue on with what you're doing. Right. It's just an entirely different type of interaction, right? YouTube doesn't give it No other, right? You know, we've talked about it. Yeah, I mean, YouTube Live does, obviously, but like standard YouTube videos doesn't give it, right? And we've talked about this in the past where Twitch or streaming platforms in general give the biggest connection to their audience, right? Like you have the ability to have a bigger impact on your viewers and directly engage with them. And I think that's why it's been in years, right? When was TV invented? In the 40s?
Well before I was alive.
40s was TV, I think. I'm taking a shot in the dark. I want to say 40s,
television invented
maybe 30s.
1920s?
The 20s, really.
Amplification made television practical.
Okay. So the 20s. It was even that far back. I wasn't positive on that. But so we'll say even in the 20s. So since in the, the 100 years, the 100 years that television has been around, right? Yeah. Motion picture content, right, has been around in the home, that the idea of being able to engage with those people on your television or your screen is still in its infancy, right? It's 10 years old or 15 years old. It's 1/5 of the age of the media. You know what I mean? There's an entire generation that never experienced it still.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It was still very, very on the edge of the streaming world. And that'd be crazy to think, 100 years from stream one, see what it's going to be like. Yeah, I think it's going to be completely different than what it is now. I think you'll see a lot of the same stuff, but I know we talked a little bit about it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some anticipation that, just like we said, where TV streaming will become much more like normal TV, but where people are interacting alongside it. You already see it in like watch parties and things like that, where people are able to watch content. Yeah. Right? News stations are doing Facebook live streams and other things like that, right? They're intentionally finding ways to find interactive mediums so that way they can feel like their viewers are actually connecting with them versus just broadcasting something, signing off, and going home, right?
Yeah.
The viewers want to know that they're being heard and the type of content that they want to consume is at least considered. Even if you don't get it, they just want to know that it's being considered and looked at, right? Like if you're on the news and you're like, you're on the news and you're typing to the weather guy and he's like, hold on, let me read the Twitter feed or whatever. And the news guy, he doesn't get to your tweet. That's okay. You still want to try to get your question across or whatever, right? Like that's still part of the intention there.
Could you imagine a news show where you're able to interact and ask questions? Oh my God. I feel like that'd be I don't even know.
I mean, I've seen headline news.
You do see some people do it, yeah.
I was gonna say, I think I've seen headline news do it, where they'll take like various tweets throughout the days and things like that, and respond to them or stuff. But it's not like real time. You know what I mean? Sure. It's like over the past 5 days. Here's all the tweets that have come across. Here's our responses and our answers and things like that. So it's a little different the way that's set up. But yeah, I totally understand where you're going with that.
Yeah. It'd be something. But yeah, the Q&A is still nice to see. They're at least acknowledging their viewers in that sense.
Sure.
I can appreciate that. Not everybody always does, or they ask their own questions and then answer them, which, their questions aren't always what the people want to know too, so.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I still think, leading back, I think that, especially from a mental health perspective, I think streaming has given a lot of people that would typically, especially like I'm just focusing in the past 18 months, right? Just in the past 18 months since this whole pandemic thing has really been getting riled up, right? That it has allowed a lot of people to find ways to connect and engage and just talk to people that they may not have otherwise been able to do, right? They would have felt 100% isolated. They would have felt, like, again, if you're sitting in your home just watching TV, there's only so much Netflix, right? Like you can't engage in Netflix.
Fair, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like getting into the dark nethers of Netflix is a very, very dangerous place. There's a lot of really bad, I don't want to say bad as in like lewd. I'm saying bad as in like just terribly produced content that exists on Netflix.
Horrible movies that are out there.
And if you've seen them all, there's, you need to get out of your house, or you need to find somebody to talk to.
Yeah, if you're not doing it ironically, like me and my friends used to have nights where we purposely look for those 1-star movies just to see like how bad they are, turn it into a drinking game or something like that. But yeah, and I mean, I'm 100% on board with you. And like, without streaming for me during this pandemic, I probably would have lost my ever-loving mind, just sitting here doing nothing. I shouldn't say doing nothing. I'd still be playing games and stuff like that. But the interaction and community and stuff that you get out of the streaming world it's really next to none as far as I'm concerned. There's really nothing else like that currently.
And you see, like, that was from, again, a viewer's perspective. Then you even have those who, either are dealing with anxiety issues, or they're dealing with depression issues, or they're dealing with even to the point where you could have like ADD or other things like that an outlet such as streaming gives you the ability, something to focus on, or a group to connect with, or say you have positivity issues, right? And you're just looking for ways to be positive, and you find a community that is very, it's just a very, very positive group of people. You don't allow any negativity, and you find, even if you find 5 people that are positive all the time, and they're just doing nice things for each other, right? It just helps that idea and that mental state. It only takes, like what they say. It's something like the humans can only have so many friends. I forget what the number is.
And it's like 150 connections or something.
And then and then people start to taper off in your brain. Like it's like an actual physical limitation. Well, yeah, but if you don't have any, right, having 5 can make such a huge difference in your mental state. Having that one, do you remember as a kid? I don't know if you did this, but as a kid, right, I would always come home, and there were like 2 things I would do. I would either call my buddy, or I would like get on AIM and chat with somebody. Like that was was the thing. That was the thing you wanted to do. Like you went to school, and especially if you guys went to different schools and you guys played different sports and all that kind of stuff. It was like right after you got out of school. Oh wow!
Woo! That was not.
Hold on, let me take a sip of water there.
Oh man. I loved school. Good time in my life.
Yeah, I'm going back to school apparently. Right after you get out of school, and you're not connecting with people, like, or you don't have really good friends at school, and you're looking for those other people that you had connected with that way. And streaming is just a level up from that, right? That experience where people, wanted to find connection, needed to find ways to cope or survive through bad experiences in life. And if that doesn't exist in your social circle, this gives you the ability to make your social circle that much bigger.
Yeah, no, especially it's, obviously there's some connecting interest too. And we get to share doing what we love, be it just hanging out, chatting with people, or playing games and answering questions and all these things, playing games with the community, all the kind of stuff that we do on our channels. And that too, just knowing that you're already here with people you have something in common with makes it so much easier for those connections to grow and create these awesome communities that, again, they keep us sane. It takes one person to change your life, so.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree. I'm so glad that that when I got out of the racing, the racing spectrum, that I found streaming, because again, if I were still racing when the pandemic happened and races got shut down, I would have been like, like, what do I do? 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 Right. And just being a part of the streaming community has given me focus, has given me drive, has given me something that I can still focus on from my house. Right. Like there were those memes going around that, like, people are being told to lock inside, and they're, stay locked inside. And they're like, I've been dreaming of this, dreaming of this day my entire life. And it was just kind of one of those things. I have survived the pandemic because everything that I am focused on is right here anyways. It's in this space that I get my motivation and my, thought process, and that I feel comfortable, and that I want to, create and do more and be, and engage, right? It's here man. That I want, dude. I have my Discord. I have, I've recently started getting into Reddit. I mean, I just kind of been spending 2 days on Reddit, just kind of playing
Reddit's
around.
New to you, huh?
It's very brand new
Reddit.
I had zero karma going into this, so I didn't even know. I had to Google what karma was because I was like, what's this karma number mean? So, and it's been, just a cool thing for me to kind of, I want to say flourish, but it's not necessarily flourishing. It's just kind of like being able to do what I love during the pandemic because I'm able to engage through the internet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, all us gamers and streamers and viewers and things like that. It's kind of funny that, we were the ones built to withstand this more than anybody else. We were the most prepared. And, again, like you said, it's flourished. I think there's a lot of awesome communities and things like that have grown so much tighter and closer and bigger because we were all kind of trapped inside and needed an outlet for that social side of who we are as humans. And it's been cool to see. It's been awesome to be a part of. Met a lot of awesome people, made a lot of awesome friends during this time that, if I was just living my day-to-day life, definitely wouldn't have made those connections because, I don't know, you don't these days just walk around and just talk to people. If you just start up conversation with someone on the side of the road, some people look at you funny, or you don't know what kind of interest they might have. And, you might find 1 in 100 that maybe plays games or likes the things that you like. So the fact that we kind of skip past that a little bit and find each other here with similar interests makes it so much cooler, man. Like you said, it's just been so awesome. It's a lovely thing to be a part of.
It's really funny you mentioned that, that talking to people in public, because I mean, you know me, I'm a regular chatty Cathy, and I'll talk to anybody. Like I sit on the airplane and I'm like, if they don't have, there's so many people, like when I used to fly, if they don't have TVs or Wi-Fi on the plane, like people are like going out of their minds, and I'm like,
oh yeah, dude, they get antsy.
I'm like,
they can't hide their face on their screen.
I'm like, how are you doing today? Yeah. And they're like, oh God, I got this guy, and I'm like,
yeah, right. Where are you from? I like pushing people past that though, where like you start the conversation and they're answering with like 1-word answers to all your questions, but you're persistent about it, show that you're friendly, and you can kind of start to see them open up, and if you can create a good interaction like that, it's a win in my book. But I'm the same way. I'll talk to anybody about anything. Sometimes it's fun. Tend to be somebody else.
Yeah, so for anybody who's listening in the future or at any point in time, live, whenever, we do want to talk about that for those of you that do have, if you do happen to have some, I don't want to call it a mental disorder. I hate using those types of phrases because I feel like if there's anything that drives you to, depression, anxiety, etc., these things that we've accumulated today due to circumstances that are around us, that's not your fault. Usually that's not your fault, right? So I don't want to call it a disorder or anything like that. Like that's not something you did wrong. It's something that's just happened,
no, not at all.
Right? But for those of you, I want to say that there is hope out there in the streaming community. If you happen to try to engage with a couple of streamers, or you try to get in a couple of communities and they turn out to be bad apples and they're just negative people, or they cause you to just flare up with whatever you have, right? Don't stick around with them. Find a new community. There's so many out there. There's so many engaging. And if you can't find if you spend, man, my voice is cracking up bad tonight.
Like you need a beer.
If you spend enough time out there and you can't find anybody, I'll throw out the shameless plug and say, come find my Discord, because we will accept you and we will enjoy your company. There's nobody out there that can't come and hang out and have some fun. So I do want to put that out there, because there are, we know like the internet trolls exist, right? Bad people exist. Bad things happen on the internet. Sometimes more often than good in some scenarios, right? But we want to make sure that people feel like they can be accepted and they can participate in whatever they want to, right? There is a community for you that you can have fun. There's communities for the trolls too, where they can troll each other and they can have a bunch of big troll hilly fun and do whatever trolls do in the dark nethers of the internet. There's those communities, and they enjoy being trolly together under the bridge or whatever trolls do. I don't know, but
troll hilly fun. I love it.
I'm just, and it's okay, right? Those people have fun being that way. Let them be that way. Just find the community that accepts you and wants to have fun with you, and, or wants to the community that accepts you and enjoys your company. There you go. I don't want to say wants to have fun with you. That sounds awkward to some extent, I guess.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. But no, yeah, I mean, if you ever feel like you have to not be yourself around people, get away from those people. If you ever feel like you're being judged by people, get away from those people. As I always try to spread in my mind, what I do is you don't need to waste time and energy on anything that's just not helping you or making you happy. And, there's plenty of nice people out there. You'll find them eventually. And when you do, hold on to them. Because people like that, again, they're good to have in your life.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So let's chalk one up. We're going to chalk one up and say, thank you, Justin TV, for Justin. I'm assuming Justin was his name. I'm going to say Justin. I'm going to go off the record and say, or on the record and say, thank you, Justin, for designing the .tv domain. Because without it, this could never exist and this experience could never happen. And it would, be we would be in trouble in the pandemic, right? Like, who knows? Maybe Microsoft, if Justin had not done what he had done and Amazon had never bought it, then who knows? Maybe Microsoft would be winning and we'd all be in a heap of trouble. You know what I mean? Because, we'd
all just be on a Zoom call right now. Could you imagine? Oh, dude. Yeah.
So rolling into the main topic of the night, do special events and streams help your content, or I'll even spread that out to your brand. So, kind of, since that's your title, let's flow that out. What do you think? Where are you going with that?
It's such a loaded question. I was talking about it briefly before we started here, and there's lots of things as far as expectations and the results and what you expect before and what you expect after for a lot of these stuff. Be it community charity streams, 24 hours, subathons, whatever it is. None of them are ever bad. I think there's the right way you can execute it. I think I have my own personal opinions as well on stuff that I'd want to do and not want to do. And so it doesn't really ever mean that you can ever do it the wrong way. You can just do it ways I won't agree with, and that's fine with you. It's fine with me. But I think a lot of people, let's see. Give me your base opinions first, and then we can start diving into some of the little pieces here and there.
So to say that, do special circumstances or do big events really drive your content to grow? And I'm going to say that's kind of two-folded. It's twofold, I think.
Sure, yeah.
It's been folded in half a couple of times,
bifold.
And then it's bifolded.
The pamphlet.
And they do go hand in hand because, as you know, and I hate to say this because I feel like I say this every time somebody talks about this, but sure. The special events drive discoverability, right? And without that discoverability, you'll never grow. Right? No matter how hard no matter how good of a content creator you are, no matter how good your streams are, you could have top tier, like best production, best audio, crazy inventive things and crazy engaging things. If nobody comes to watch, nobody's going to know it's happening, right? Yeah. Part of that whole special event thing is drive the hype, drive the engagement, drive the experience, drive the exposure, get discovered. So that way, when they come back, they can experience all those amazing things that you're doing on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my earliest large contributors to the channel, and I think he still holds like top 5 bits or top. He holds my I believe he holds my single largest bit donation. It's not a donation, but single largest bit drop on my channel still. I met him, and he was a long-term viewer of the channel, and he came as a result of one of my 24-hour streams very early on.
Yeah.
So he came as a result of my 24-hour stream, got introduced to the channel. I mean, he ended up being a friend of a friend of a friend that, kind of engaging, right? Or, a friend of a streamer of a streamer of a streamer, et cetera, right? Like he knew me through like three layers of separation or something.
Yeah.
And he just came, and then he became a semi-regular on the channel, enjoyed the content. Next thing you know, boom, he now holds my record for largest bit contribution in a single bit, right? So it's it's interesting, how those things can happen, right? Granted, I have never had, let's say I've never had a 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
And then immediately seen my numbers grow right afterwards, right? Like it's got nothing to do, and that's where I want to get to the point to where saying like, no individual event is going to say like, here's your, if you've got 25 viewers today, you do a 24-hour stream. By the end of the 24-hour stream, you could be at 50, but chances are you're not going to have 50 and then keep going upward from there, right? When you go to your next stream, you're going to go back to your 25.
The expectations side of it for me is you get a lot of people where they almost seem to get discouraged. They have this huge, awesome event where, they have a lot of people end up rating in, they get a lot of support and things like that. A lot of people come out, big follows and stuff like that. And then they go back to the regular streaming schedule and they're like, oh, well, I just had this awesome event. Why is it that I'm not seeing my numbers change? And it's because people come for events. And I'm not saying that they're not ever going to come back, because that's not true. Some will. You will make some new friends and get some new faces around. But to expect that to change your regular numbers is just, you're setting yourself up for disappointment, because it just doesn't usually work that way. Just the same thing with raids and whatever it is. You can get those big spikes in numbers, but never, ever, ever expect it to stay that way. Another thing I just wanted to add with, I did title it like this specifically as well. Because it's a special event stream, you need to keep them special. You can't sit there and run 24 hours every month or do charity streams every week and expect people to come out in full force every time.
Right.
It won't work that way. And when it becomes that regular, it's not special anymore, and people aren't going to come out for the big occasion. They're not going to look forward to it. You kind of take the special out of it when you run it on a regular basis like that.
At that point, it becomes a part of your schedule, right? Like say you did. I mean, and let's get to the point. There's nothing wrong with doing a monthly charity stream, right? There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Not at all.
But you need to set your expectations to understand that if you do a charity stream once every 6 months, your results may or may not be different. You have the ability to have higher expectations for that once every 6 months, because people will save for that. They'll know that this is a limited time. This isn't coming for another, this isn't coming until December of the year, right? If we want to contribute, we got to contribute now. It's not like, oh, well, I don't have it right now, I'll contribute next month when it comes around. Oh, well, maybe in 2 more months, right?
Yeah.
Because as you continue to, just like you said, as you continue to lessen the specialness, it becomes mundane, right? It becomes ineffective. It becomes not fun. Let me ask, do you know how many subathons Ludwig has done prior to this one that he just did?
I don't know if he ever has, as far as I know. He might, but
not. I would say, nobody. As far as I know, I know, he hasn't done one since he's started, his growth path, right?
Yeah.
Like since he's really been discovered.
Yeah.
Right. So right. Since he's really started to grow into being Ludwig, right?
Yeah.
So and that's part of what you're getting at, right? Like this is something where honestly, if this guy wanted to do a subathon, if this guy wanted to do a month-long subathon once a month, he'd probably still hit his goals. But the intention is there. You got to keep it special, right? He's waited an entire year and a half, right? I think he's I think he's almost 24 months into being a streamer, right? I think.
So wild.
And it's just it's absolutely nuts how much he's grown. But it's just one of those things where he's had the ability to do that, right? And he's made those little things so unique and they're so special. And every time he's like, let's do something that somebody else has done. Let's put a twist on it. Let's make it special for me, and let's never do it again. That was a one-time event. If you didn't participate, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Be here for the next time I do something even cooler, right? It's going to be different, and it's going to be cooler, and everybody that gets to participate gets a T-shirt, I don't know, or gets a sticker or whatever, right? Like, I was there for Ludwig's whatever, right? I don't know. I'm just being facetious, but, those are the ways that you make those types of events unique.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, anything like that, obviously another thing that kind of goes along with making it special is it's always good to advertise for it beforehand. Like, I don't think anybody should ever just like sit down and be like, oh, instead of regular stream tonight, I'm going to make it 24 hours. You don't get to create any hype behind it. You don't get to tell any of your regulars to go tell some people they know or things like that, because you want that event to be bigger than a normal stream. And I'm not saying that you should get discouraged if you ever have a 24 hour or something like that, or charity stream, and only a couple people come by, just like they do on your regular nights. But you want to try to give it the best effort to be successful. And to do that, you're going to need to advertise and create some hype for it. I think Ludwig did that with his.
I think I just got a really cool idea for a future charity stream, though. That would be really cool. Or like a subathon or something along that line is create specialized merch that you only put on your store for the duration of the stream.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, anything that's limited is always going to be a good seller.
I never thought about doing something like that, but that is such a cool idea. Like, I just, when we were talking about it, I said, everybody gets a t-shirt. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think of it like, the concerts you go to where they have the limited for that one venue, things like that, where, it's like, yeah, this is a at concert only tour, the special edition, whatever you want to call it at that point, that you can only get if you were at that concert itself. So, no, it's a great idea. I like it a lot.
I think that's my next whatever it is. My next whatever.
Whatever it is. I do want to, speaking of charity streams, let's see, how do I want to word this so I'm not like making it weird? Obviously, any charity stream to me is great. There's a lot of good causes out there. If I was ever to do one, I'd probably personally aim for like a smaller charity around me, something that, I feel like I have some sort of connection to, where, you can raise a $500,000 really makes a big difference. Nothing against the giant charities, just in my head, they get a lot of support from big organizations and companies and stuff like that already. So I feel like my $500 or whatever might not be a game changer for them. But do you think there's like a percentage requirement for when doing charity streams? Because I do have to say I've been on a few before that like 10% of what we raise today in donations will go to, and not that that's bad, but like that puts a bad taste in my mouth. Personally.
For me, it's for me, because here's the weird part for me.
Yeah.
I never say. It's to me, it's all in the wording, and I would say it this way: 100%, 100% of revenue. If you're doing a charity stream, 100% of revenue should go to the charity, right? Yeah. Whatever that is. Obviously, if you're doing something like as a standard rule, you give 10% of your Twitch payout to St. Jude's every month, right? Like that's cool. One thing. But if you're talking specifically a charity stream, like you don't want to word it that to say like all money contributed gets, or however you say that, like 100% of what we get, 100% of what we get tonight goes to I don't know, what's the Space for Strays or whatever, right? Like you don't want to word it like that, because if somebody's donating a $5 subscription, but you're only accruing half of that, right?
Yeah, right.
You don't want to spin it, because then when you go drop the donation, people are going to be like, wait a minute, that's half of what you said you were going to give. Where's the other money at? And then you get into this whole like weird kind of, so you just want to make sure that, and if you spend money, like whatever, like if you buy
like if you're
food,
doing giveaways
if you're buying,
or things,
exactly.
You want to,
again, 100% of revenue should go towards, I totally agree with that. I think that's a really cool idea.
100%.
And anybody who does less, you're not necessarily doing it for a charity stream at that point, right? And I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you behind the point of picking smaller charities. There's one out there right now, and I really wish I could remember the name of the organization is eluding me right now. I hate it. But they actually build these portable carts that have like Xboxes and PlayStations and stuff built into the cart, and it has a little flip-up TV monitor on it, and they donate them to hospitals for kids. in the hospital. So it's like these little like portable gaming console systems that hospitals use, and they roll them around, and like kids that are in the hospitals can play games and stuff. It's a really, really cool organization from what I've seen. And I
remember getting to play on something like that when I was in the hospital as a kid. I played some Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
A little cart that rolled in.
Yeah. So they do that. It's, everything goes to the construction. It's a nonprofit organization. I'm like, that's cool. If I do a charity stream, I want to do something like that. Because one, it's gaming. Right. Two, it's kids, huge. Right? Yeah. So it's kind of like St. Jude's, and what's the big life one?
Oh, Extra Life?
Extra Life. Yeah, it's like St. Jude's, it's Extra Life. It's all these, it's kind of these organizations, but it's just on a smaller platform, right?
Yeah. Yeah, where, your whatever money you raise, I feel like it just makes a bigger change, bigger difference, and that's what you want to be doing it for. Again, there's nothing wrong. Any charity, it's great. All money going to good causes is good in my book. But obviously there's ways that we would prefer to do it ourselves, if and when. Shouldn't say if, because I have plans to do some down the road.
Sure. Sure. And I mean, honestly, I've been in the back of my head, playing out this idea. We've talked about it, and I'm like, man, it's totally possible to do a week-long stream. It's totally possible to do it. Like, how do you make it? How do you fit it in though? And how do you make it fit into the like? Because, I mean, just getting a week off of work isn't really the problem. It's getting a week disconnected from, the other half of my house, right? Yeah. So
honestly, too, like, it almost would make more sense to do something like that if we ever did, to just, like, rent a place somewhere, and, like, take a day to set up, and then, 4 or 5 days, whatever it after is, and just do the whole streaming event, whatever it is.
That would be crazy.
Away from the regular place, and you don't have to worry about disorienting or obstructing, the lives of your family and things like that.
That would be absolutely crazy. Yeah, I've been totally thinking about like the idea behind it. I mean, I would love to do it. There'd have to be some kind of, I don't know what you like, how you do the rules for that, but I really want to do something like it's something that I feel like I want to experience, to see just how difficult it is, right? What it actually takes, what it entails. Like, that part of it intrigues me, and then I feel like it's something that people would have fun with too. I mean, when I capped the workout stream at, what did I cap it at? I capped the workout stream at 4 hours, challenged the internet, and the internet very, very well received it and forced me to work out, run on a treadmill for 4 hours straight. So, I mean... Yeah.
And it'd be a cool thing to, like, collab, find some other content creators around as well. And then, you get everybody coming together. We have a lot of gear. You don't have to worry about buying a crap ton more stuff necessarily if you need to have cameras in different places for different things. And, it's just... I've been thinking about stuff. Don't worry. We'll make something happen someday for sure.
There's an idea. There's an idea out there. Well, we can turn it into gold at some point.
Oh yeah, make it a big deal, big special event. But it's charity streams, 24 hours subathons.
So we've had a few small conversations on subathons. Do you still, like, even after seeing Ludwig's subathon today, or not today, but last month, right? Do you still feel the same about subathons as you have in the past?
I mean, it definitely didn't change my opinion about it at all. I'm not, I think it's a lot easier to look at that from those guys' shoes and just kind of guarantee you're going to be successful. Because even still, they have their buddies and stuff. If things are going a little slow, they can come in and throw some donos and kind of spark the interest and get things going, because they're ranking in big money, big time streamers. Where it's tough as the small ones, you can obviously still gather your army, but it's never going to be as big as that. And it's hard for me with where we are to try to value what our time is worth, as far as how much to extend a timer, for how much money.
I think that's the hardest thing. I think when people talk about subathons and people talk about, like, how much is a donation worth, how much is a bit worth, how much is a sub worth, etc. Because even the hardest part is, like, we've talked in the past again, like, a sub is worth half of its value, but you can't say that to the viewer, because you can't say, oh, by the way, if you give me a $5 donation, I will extend the timer 5 minutes. If you give me a $5 subscription, I'll extend the timer 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
The viewer is still contributing. The viewer is still contributing the same amount of value.
Yeah,
So it's kind of a weird. It's kind of
Yeah.
a weird metric. I did the math on it one time, and I tried to build out my plan for like a 20. Like I was trying to say, like if I wanted X number of dollars per hour, how much would it take for me to do it? Like I was doing the math in my head, and I did it all from my perspective. Like if I was trying to value my time, here's what my time's valued at. And it looked really crappy on paper. Like I was like nobody's gonna like.
Well, yeah, because I don't know. It's one of those things with the internet challenge thing too. You know, you hate to number one undervalue it, where all of a sudden you're just getting hammered. You know, and you're in there now for weeks or whatever you have it set at because you just set the bar too low. But then, like, imagine if me or you were to do a subathon and go in with Ludwig idea of, every sub is 10 seconds added to the timer. Like, that's crazy. There's no way in my mind I'd expect people to pay $5 for 10 seconds of my time online.
Right. Yeah. No, you're totally right. And that's part of that. That's part of it, right? That's part of the issue or the drive there is just trying to make sure that it's not at that point. It's not so much what you think your content's worth, because it doesn't matter what you think your content's worth at that point. No, you don't have enough viewers. It's what do your viewers think your content's worth, right? Because if you want them to engage, you need to set it a value, right? I mean, I've had people come in and say that my bit alerts are too low. Right? My bit alerts, that's too low. I'll do that all day. And I'm like, that's the point, right? Like, but at the same time, right? Like I'm not here to make it some ridiculous number, right? Like I'm not here for that intention. I don't want to do it that way. So I try to make it as simple as I can.
Yeah, and that's why I think for me with subathons, it's just I don't see myself doing them anytime soon unless it's some like short-term gimmicky thing. Like I would never push for this, let's do for an insanely long time. You know, it'd be more something like what you did with your workout where I have a cap. If we can get there, awesome. You know, we'll make some sort of fun event out of it. But I just think until that, and valuing my time is just hard. You hate to do it, you know, because it would feel bad if you do a subathon and, you know, you add like 5 extra minutes to the timer and that's it, you know, and you're just cutting the camera, calling it. You're like, all right, well, we tried, you know.
Yeah,
maybe next time. But
I think you have to. I think you have to value or set a minimum time, right? Like if you're gonna do it, to me, if you're gonna do a 24-hour, right? Like if your intention is and your max time's 24-hour, you have to do 8. Right, like you have to do an 8-hour stream. Otherwise, you're letting everybody else down entirely. Right, so that same concept goes where if you say I'm gonna do a week, right, you got to commit to at least one 24-hour
for sure
to be able to even get that timer rolling and be like, if the timer's off, you know, I'm gonna set the timer for 24 hours, but the max will be, you know, I don't know what 7 times 24 is, so I'm not gonna do the math, but the max will be 7 days.
144. Right?
Is it? No, it's
no,
12.
That's not right.
So it's
298?
288.
Nope. Yeah,
288.
288. My math, my brain. I don't even been thinking about it. Hours. Yeah. Jeez.
288. So don't worry about me. Wait.
Yeah.
No, it's not even close. Wait a minute. Wait, yeah, 7 times 12.
70.
7 times 12 is
then another that 140.
Oh my God. It's 168. 24 times 7.
168. All right, see, I wasn't far off of my just random throwing 144 off the beginning.
We're so bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking 12 times 12 times 12.
My brain just doesn't operate when I'm trying to do math while still talking the entire time. I would have just had to sit here quietly and been like, 168. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
But I just decided to not shut up and throw numbers out there.
Yeah, so you got to do you got to commit to 24 hours minimum if you're going to plan for like a maximum of 168, right? Like that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to have some way to, because people are still going to show up and maybe the people that show up just don't financially have the ability to contribute. They would love to if they could, but they can't, right? So they just want to be here as long as they can for as long as you are.
For sure.
So give them that minimum value. Give them that content for at least being there. That's also part of my thought process on like the view-a-thon. Like I love that concept. I should do it. I should do a week-long view-a-thon.
Yeah, because honestly too, things like that, outside of the financial support, I think that people that are just there helping, being interactive with chat are just as important. like just keeping you awake, keeping you on your toes.
Oh my gosh,
checking in with you like that. That is a game changer on the 24-hour streams.
So my biggest thing is like we all know Ludwig was going to sleep. Things were happening like in stream,
right? Yeah,
things were happening while that was going on. Like my biggest thing is I would be mortified. I would be mortified if I decided to do like a week-long stream, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, guys, we just got 20 hours in. I'm going to lay down in the back corner here and you guys can watch me sleep now. Like that to me would be so weird, right? But then if you did that and you woke back up in the morning and you had like one viewer left, right? Like,
right. Oh,
like,
yeah, dude.
Like you went to bed with like 30 and you went to sleep and you woke up with one and you're like,
yeah, well, crap. How do I let people know I'm awake? Like, can I send out another notification?
Do I send out tweets? What do I do? You know, like, how do we go? What do we make work, right? Or do you just hit stop streaming and be like, well, we tried? Or like, what if your stream goes offline while you're sleeping?
Ooh, dude, that would be. Oh my God! Yeah, now we're just talking nightmare scenarios. You don't plan for that.
If it happens,
obviously you gotta, I don't know, have a mod or somebody that's doing something like to really help you out. You gotta have somebody. Oh, that's when the team comes in handy, you know.
Oh, having a full team to do stuff like that. Oh, for sure. Like I couldn't imagine.
Hit you up on your phone, like, dude, it's down, wake up, like.
But we could talk about nightmare scenarios all night long, man. Do you have anything else specifically related to like the idea of benefit? Because we kind of touched in the very beginning about the concept of will a special event specifically grow your brand? I wanna say no. Obviously, again, as we always say, there's an exception to the rule, and there are people who do something so crazy they get recognized for it and they just immediately explode. Right? There is stuff like that happens. Right? I hear plenty of success stories, but for every one success story that you hear, there's like 300. Failures or not failures, but 300 stories where nothing changed. Right? So you can't go into it with that expectation.
Yeah, I think that's really what it comes down to with all these things. As the streamers of the size we are, it's your expectations with everything. Just because you see the big streamers doing big things, don't think that a 24-hour stream is going to make your content explode. Don't think that your charity streams are going to just rake in thousands and thousands. It doesn't mean it can't happen. It totally can. But don't set yourself up for disappointment by thinking that this is going to be some game changer, some big saver for maybe low viewer count for a couple weeks and things like that. And be like, hey, if I just do a big 24-hour stream, we'll get right back to it. They're great. I don't think they're necessary. I agree with Q on that. I think if you do them right, awesome. Again, keep them special. Don't do them all the time. And have fun with it. Try to do something unique about it. And that, to me, is probably what would make it most successful. Don't just sit there necessarily and say, hey, I'm doing the same thing I normally do, except I'm just live for 24 hours now instead of 8. Do something that's fun. Do something unique. Do something cool. Get other people involved if you can. And just have fun with it. That's really all that matters.
Yep. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So I do want to close out the night with a question, I want to say. And I don't think we've done this yet in the past. I don't think we've ever done this before, but like going into the month, so we're in the middle of quarter 2 of 2021, right? We're April, May, January, March, April.
Yeah.
So we're just starting. We're in the beginning. Yeah, we're in the beginning of quarter 2. Looking at what you've experienced so far in 2021, right? Quarter 1 is over. We've experienced a good portion. I want to know, like, what's in the future for you starting in Q3? I'm kind of dropping this on you at random, but like, what are your expectations? Like, what are your plans? What are your growth ideas? And if you don't have anything solidified or set or anything like that, like, I wanted to kind of say something real fast and give listeners the opportunity to say, where's the Game Hopper going in the future?
Ooh, wow. Why me? Why not you? No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, I feel like you can't call yourself a content creator if you don't have plans for the future. And obviously, I still would say I'm notorious for having plans and notorious for not always executing them. I say not always, but really, I'm really bad at following through with stuff. Q3, I would like to be in a place where I'm uploading regularly. I know I'm a broken record at this point, saying that over and over and over and over again, but I do feel like I'm starting to get an idea on a lot of stuff I really want to get going on YouTube, and not waver from one thing to the other and like, ooh, this is a cool idea, let me do that. Nah, that's not fun, let me do this instead. Nah, that's not, let me do this. I have like 3 or 4 ideas I want to stick with and run with, and it's something I know I'm going to enjoy. And if people want to watch it, cool, they can. But otherwise, too, it's going to be good for me to get those creative juices out there and see what happens with it.
So have you? And I'm just asking out of
no, hit me with it, man.
Have you
it's the real stuff
to make the consistent uploads a little more attainable? Have you considered doing a channel specifically for like YouTube Shorts?
I have.
Just take like if you get a clip per stream, literally spin that clip and boom, there's a short, right? Like whatever the clip, even without editing, even without making it crazy or making
just
it
take 60 seconds of something. That's a great way to start, or at least that's a great addition to make at some point. I'll be honest, I really haven't dove into the world of YouTube Shorts.
Me neither. I know.
Grasp it, so I think I need to.
I know very little about it, but I understand that it's very easy to get engaged. There's a lot of people using it, and
good.
And it's simple enough. The only weird thing that I know about is you have to use landscape videos. So like you'd have to do some editing to kind of shift your video to be. You have to use portrait. Sorry, not landscape. Right, so you have to shift your video, like just do some editing. But man, I can tell you, like realistically, you could go back and clip. You could go back and download all of your clips and have post one every 2 days, and have like 6 months worth of content just uploading old clips. Because I can tell you right now, and this is where I think you excel way more than me. And I'm giving you the benefit. I'm giving you a big compliment here. Is your commentary is absolutely hilarious compared to mine. Like I'm
Thanks,
very simple when it comes to my commentary in games. You say some of the darndest things sometimes, and those are the moments that I love to clip, and I enjoy watching that part of it. So
I have no filter.
I think sharing that through something like YouTube Shorts could be a very, very good asset for you.
Yeah, and you are 100% right, and I need to make it happen. And that's, again, my biggest problem with everything in life is just, lack of follow through, but we're going to work on it. We're going to keep doing it, and we'll get to a point someday, I promise we'll get there. Q3, sure. I would love to have it sooner. So time will tell. Get on me. If you guys see me around, if you see me playing a game in the middle of the day, be like, hey, Hop,
get off Outriders. You got that short up yet?
Dude, it's so much fun though. I can play games. That's my problem. I just get up. Oh no, I just got to like do one mission real fast. 4 hours later, oh, now I got to go live, and I didn't do any video edits today. The pains. But yeah, what about you, man? What's Q3 looking like for Qualzar / the Mike guy?
So, I am going to dabble in shorts. I made my first somewhat short earlier this week. I posted on Twitter from my gameplay of Devotion last Thursday. I would love to have one short every couple of days based on clips or things that happen. So for those of you that are watching, be sure to clip my content because I will steal it and I will put it on. I will put it on YouTube Shorts on your behalf. Thank you for contributing to me.
Yeah.
Thank you for contributing for me.
Yeah.
The other side of it is getting back into microphones. I mean, we've talked about this before, but not getting back into them because I have them. I still play with them. Typically I'm using the Rode NT. The problem was I just bought such a nice microphone that I love it so much. I hate disconnecting it. I don't want to put a bad one up here and listen to it. I like the good one.
It's like putting the good kid in timeout for no reason.
Yeah, I know. So
I did nothing wrong. I know, but we just need to give the other kids some attention for a little bit.
So
okay?
I have I've been swapping them out all the time on my work laptop. So I've been swapping out microphones on my work laptop just to use them and stuff. And so
I love it.
I need to get back into it. I have so many videos that I have to create. I have so many ideas. There's OBS tutorials that I've been working on. So it's just getting myself back into the mindset. I recorded a video like a week and a half ago. Yeah. And it just like I could so tell it's not riding a bike by any means. It's not. Like I recorded the video and I was like, what am I doing? I was like making mistakes left and right. And I made like 15 recordings and I was like, by the time I got through like take 10, I was like, I'm so mentally gone right now. I was like, this would make a great bloopers reel, but I mean, other than that, I've got nothing worth anything right now. So yeah, I just need to get back into it and get rolling again. So looking forward to, I'm really looking forward to breaking that 1,000 by the end of 2021. Yeah. So I need to get back rolling and start generating again. So.
Yeah, and I got to start my climb towards that number. Also, I think that we need to add Q3. There needs to be some live in-person fun event WTWs going on.
Certainly.
That needs to be part of the plan.
Yes, more IRL streams. I mean, shoot, it'll be another four weeks. I'll be like, I'll have my second vax and I'll be, through the whatever,
Perfect. Fueled and rolling. I like it.
So yes, I'll be ready for it.
Awesome. Big things coming, guys.
Yes.
From the Mike Guy and the Game Hopper. We promise.
So since we have not made the announcement yet, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of those who watch this content live, all of those that contributed via follows, via subscriptions, via Patreon, if you happen to be so kind and lovely to do so as well. We appreciate every one of you. If you like this type of content, be sure to check us out. Spotify, Cloudcast, Google Podcasts, Anchor. I can't even name them all. Anchor. Check us both out on YouTube. Links are in the descriptions of all of our content to everywhere we need to be. We love to check you guys out on Discord as well. So please feel free to come and hang out with us there. We always taking ideas for new topics for these podcasts during the week. So please feel free to come and join us there and drop your ideas of what you think needs to be heard or needs to be talked about. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Chris Qualizar and my co-host, go ahead. Come on, Dusty.
Dusty the Game Hopper, the one and only.
We will see you guys next week.
We'll see you then. We love you.